everyone, welcome to week 4 of our virtual learning experience together. In science this week, we are covering invertebrates. Now, this is my second time trying to make this video because the first time around, I showed a really awesome brain pop video, but it didn't really quite work out with the technology, and so I'm going to just retake the part of the lesson that I went over our reading passage for this week in the textbook, and I'm going to try my best to see if I can somehow link or provide a link for that brain pop video because it was really awesome. So be on the lookout for that. If not, then we'll make do with what we have. But anyways, invertebrates. We have been covering vertebrates over the last couple weeks now, a few weeks now. First week of our virtual learning, we did an overview, and then we covered the 5 types. And this week, I just wanted to talk about some examples of invertebrates. So without further ado, let's just dive right in. Our essential idea for this week is that most animals on Earth are invertebrates. So more than 95% of animals living on Earth are invertebrates. Many invertebrates live in water. Worms, insects, and spiders live in land and on the soil. So most of the animals that exist and live on Earth are invertebrates. They're just typically a lot smaller, not quite as big as our vertebrate friends, okay? The simplest animals are sponges. I'm trying to change the lighting here. Sponges have no muscle or nerve cells. So that means because they don't have muscle or nerve cells, obviously muscle, we need our muscles to move around, and nerve cells is what helps us feel things like pain or touch, maybe feeling something that's soft or rough, and even pain. They absorb food through pores or openings in their bodies. And I know Miss Friend's camera is not very good and the glare's awful, but in our image here in the textbook, all these holes are those pores, and that's how they get the food that they need. Okay, they don't move around to get it. They don't eat. They don't have a mouth to eat it with. They just have those pores that filters in and absorbs that food. All right, so sponges is our first example of an invertebrate. Next, snails and squid are invertebrates called mollusks. They have soft bodies. Many mollusks, such as snails, have a hard shell that grows with their body. So in this image, we have an image of a snail here and a squid. Now, I've never seen a live squid unless I'm just not remembering. Maybe at the aquarium I have. I'm sure I have. I'm just not remembering. But I know that I've held a snail before, and I remember that when I've held this snail, they have that gooey, feels kind of yucky on the bottom, and that's how they move. But that part is pretty soft, right? So this part of a snail is soft, and then they have that hard shell on top that they use to kind of hide in, and then they can poke out, all right, used for protection as well. So that's one of the characteristics of a snail and of a mollusk in general. All right, moving on. Sorry for this lighting. Oh no. Oh, there we go. Some technical difficulties. All right. All right, again, I apologize for this awful glare. We are doing the best we can, right? Let's see. All right. Shrimp, lobster, and crayfish are invertebrates called crustaceans. Crustaceans have exoskeletons or hard shells on the outside of their bodies. All right, and here are 2 images of 2 crustaceans, a lobster and shrimp. Have you ever had shrimp before or lobster for dinner or maybe even for lunch? I've had lobster before, and when I had lobster, you have to crack the shell here because all the meat is on the inside. So yeah, they have a nice hard shell on the top. Same thing with shrimp. Have you ever had shrimp before? I've had shrimp, and sometimes, unless you buy the kind that's already peeled for you, you have to peel that that shell away, their exoskeleton. Okay, crustacean. Right, next we have, and I'll adjust the lighting again here. Annelids are invertebrates with long bodies made of many parts. The parts look like rings and move separately. Worms and leeches are annelids. I keep wanting to say how many of you. I know I don't get to see you right now. Have you ever held a worm? I hope you've never held a leech before. You really don't want to be picking up leeches, but they're both have very similar characteristics. So those rings that the reading was talking about is how they move. So kind of like a slinky, okay? So if you ever seen a worm move, I always think of it like a slinky, kind of manipulating that, okay? All right, so annelid, another type of invertebrate, long bodies, and they move with sort of like those rings separately, and then they come together and they move back and then come back together, okay? All right, next, insects. There are more than 1 million different kinds of insects on Earth. Insects have antennae and 6 legs. Their bodies have 3 parts. Like crustaceans, insects have exoskeletons. That's sometimes why you might hear a little crunch when you kill an insect. But here are 3 examples of insects that should be pretty familiar. We have a ladybug, we have a bee, and a grasshopper. All right, so insects are another example of an invertebrate. All right, and our last example, spiders have 8 legs and no antenna. They have 2 body parts. Many spiders spin webs to catch insects or food. Spiders are one of my favorite invertebrates. There's one living on my porch right now. And so I need to go take a picture so I can post it for you guys. But anyways, yeah, spiders is another example of an invertebrate. Real quick, I don't think I went over what an invertebrate even is. I know we did go over it very briefly as we talked about what vertebrates are. Invertebrates are living things or animals that do not have a backbone or spine. Okay, so right now I want all of you to feel your back and feel your backbone. All right, invertebrates don't have that. All right, I thought I covered that right at the beginning, but I guess I didn't. But we covered it a lot. Vertebrates do have a backbone. So humans are vertebrates. All these other animals that we're discussing today are invertebrates. They do not have a backbone, just like a worm. So going back to the example of a worm, when you've held a worm before, they're pretty flexible there. They don't have that backbone, okay? All right, moving on to this chart. I want you to use this chart on this week's assignment. You're going to be filling in a chart also. Now, and again, I'm very flexible on how you want to do this. You don't have to remake the chart. You can write sentences about each, what a sponge is, a mollusk, or give me an example. But let me try to find it. Oh, here. Here's what the assignment for this week is. You have a word bank and you need to provide those examples of the type of invertebrate with the example. Now, like I said, you're more than welcome to complete this chart by using the information that we're covering today, or you can write a sentence. You can use the word bank and write a sentence about each type of invertebrate, okay? So as long as you're showing me work that shows me that you understand what an invertebrate is and you can, and what each type is, then we are good to go, okay? I'm not going to read over this chart I will let you read it. I'm going to attach it in the assignments as always. So I'm going to let you go over that and review it yourself. We already touched on it throughout the reading. Why it matters. There are thousands of invertebrates around you every day. Invertebrates often help you. For example, insects help fruit reproduce, and you eat fruit. All right, so there's a lot of ways that invertebrates help us, specifically, like it said, insects. I'll also give another example. Spiders, like this spider living on my porch right now, catches a lot of bugs like gnats or mosquitoes that are kind of pesty, right? They're annoying and I don't want them around. So that helps me out a lot, right? So that's another example of how an invertebrate can help us, okay? That covers our section today. We're going to move on from vertebrates and invertebrates, and we're going to be talking a little bit about human body systems over the following week and probably the week after. So that's coming up. And then ecosystems. So we have a fun rest of the year planned. Like I said, however you want to complete this week's assignment is up to you. You can do this worksheet, or you can just write me a sentence for each type of invertebrate and tell me about it, or give an example of it. So again, I just want to make sure that you're learning through this whole virtual learning process, and that you are doing the best work that you can, which I know all of you are. I'm just going to point this back down right here. I miss all of you so much, and I did want to just take another moment to express that I know that this is a very stressful time, and I'm here for you, and all of your other teachers are here for you as well. We're here to set you up to succeed. We all miss you so, so much, and we can't wait to see you all again when it's safe. Again, please reach out to me. I miss you all very much, and I look forward to talking to you all soon. Have a great week this week, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.